What's next after House rebukes Trump's tariffs on Canada? Republican defectors helped clinch passage of a House bill this week that would overturn President Donald Trump's tariffs on Canada, one of the largest U.S. trade partners. The rare rebuke of Trump on Capitol Hill comes as the White House awaits a ruling from the Supreme Court on the lawfulness of its steepest tariffs, including some of the levies on Canadian goods. The anti-tariff House vote will likely prove symbolic, since the measure faces challenging odds in the Senate and a potential veto from Trump, analysts said. But the show of bipartisan opposition may reflect growing concern about the levies as members approach the midterm elections. The Supreme Court, meanwhile, poses an existential risk for many of Trump's signature tariffs in a ruling that could come as soon as this month, they added. Here's what comes next for Trump's tariffs in the aftermath of the House vote. Days after Trump took office for the second time, he ordered 25 tariffs on Canadian goods. In August, Trump ratcheted up the tariffs from 25 to 35. Those levies exclude a host of goods compliant with the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA, a free trade agreement. Trump has repeatedly faulted Canada for its alleged failure to stop the transport of fentanyl into the U.S. He has also sharply criticized tariffs and other trade barriers erected by Canada that he says put U.S. businesses at a disadvantage when selling to Canadian shoppers. Between September 2024 and April 2025, nearly all fentanyl seized by the U.S. came through the southern border with Mexico, according to U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, or CBP. Less than 1% of fentanyl was seized at the northern border with Canada, CBP found. On Wednesday, the House voted to repeal Trump's tariffs on Canada by a tally of 219 to 211, including 6 Republicans alongside nearly all Democrats. The narrow margin fell well short of the two-thirds majority that will be necessary to overcome a presidential veto. However, Democratic House members are expected to propose a flurry of bills opposing other levies. In a social media post on Wednesday night, Trump warned Republicans against voting in favor of any measure aimed at overturning tariffs. Any Republican, in the House or the Senate, that votes against tariffs will seriously suffer the consequences come election time, and that includes primaries. Trump said. Tariffs have given us great national security because the mere mention of the word has countries agreeing to our strongest wishes. Some analysts who spoke to ABC News cast doubt on the likelihood of the House bill passing the Republican-controlled Senate or, if it were to prevail, circumventing a veto from Trump. Further anti-tariff proposals would face the same stiff odds, they said. There is zero chance that any of these tariff restrictions pass the House and Senate and get a stamp from the White House, Larry Sabato, the founder and director of the University of Virginia Center for Politics, told ABC News. This is purely symbolic. Still, some analysts characterized the bipartisan House vote as a signal of growing political risk associated with Trump's tariff policies as midterm elections approach in November. The Trump administration could face difficulty limiting the number of Republican defections on similar measures, especially when the calendar moves past the primaries, taking away some of Trump's political leverage. The White House will have an increasingly difficult time in these tariff votes, Clayton Allen, practice head for the United States at the Eurasia Group, told ABC News, but he cautioned that the House would be unlikely to achieve a veto-proof majority. A Supreme Court decision expected as soon as this month looms over a large swath of Trump's tariffs. A ruling against Trump could strike down his steepest tariffs, including some of the levies on Canada, regardless of where the anti-tariff bill stands. After a coalition of small businesses and